Apple investigating swelling iPhone 8 batteries. Nearly half a dozen iPhone 8 Plus owners from around the world have seen their devices cracking and swelling. The swelling in these cases reportedly occurs when the iPhone 8 Plus's lithium-ion battery is charging. Apple says it is investigating the problem and is in possession of one of the damaged phones. 5 iPhone 8 Plus owners in Canada, Greece, Japan, Taiwan, and Hong Kong have reported similar issues. According to Apple news site Mac Rumors, it's common for a small number of devices out of the millions made to have some battery issues. Last year, Samsung was forced to recall hundreds of their Galaxy Note 7 phones after users reported battery problems, some of which caused devices to combust. Ring-a-ding-ding.
Smartphones, the 21st century drug. Smartphone addiction has escalated to the point that some of us are experiencing nomophobia, the fear of being separated from our phones even in important settings such as meetings. Like opioid addiction, this addiction can be explained in terms of neuroscience. When we receive a notification on our phone, the neurons in the ventral tegmental area of our brain become excited. This excitation generates an electrical signal called an action potential, which travels to a neuron's presynaptic terminal in the area of our brain called the nucleus accumbens. The action potential leads to the opening of calcium channels. Calcium ions diffuse into the neuron, causing vesicles to fuse to the neuron's membrane and to release dopamine molecules, which diffuse into the synapse. Dopamine molecules bind to receptors on the postsynaptic neuron, causing sodium channels to open. Sodium ion diffusion causes the neuron to become more positive, but not enough to generate an action potential. Dopamine molecules left in the synapse are degraded by enzymes, reabsorbed by dopamine transporters, or diffuse away. This is what happens in a non-addicted smartphone user. In an addicted smartphone user, the neurons become excited, generating an action potential that travels to the nucleus accumbens in the same way. However, a study suggests that addicted users have fewer dopamine transporters. As a result, dopamine stays in the synapse longer and continues binding to receptors. Increased binding opens more sodium channels for a longer time, increasing sodium diffusion into the postsynaptic neuron, which becomes positive enough to generate an action potential. Dopamine is the basis of our smartphone addiction because it stimulates our seeking behavior. In this case, we seek likes, followers, and messages because they provide a rewarding feeling of validation and belonging. These rewarding interactions serve as positive reinforcement, strengthening our desire to seek out even more from our smartphones. In other words, our addiction is a vicious cycle, and it seems we'll never get enough of our precious phones. An optical illusion to protect your PIN number. A technology developed by researchers at New York University could defeat shoulder surfing attacks with a display of an optical illusion. A shoulder surfing attack is when an attacker obtains a person's PIN number by directly looking over their shoulder or by recording the process. The Illusion PIN system generates an on-screen keypad with number keys in a certain configuration for the intended user. However, someone viewing the same screen from a distance will see a completely different configuration of number keys. For added security, the system generates different keypad configurations for the intended user every time they log in. An NYU study revealed about 73% of mobile device users surveyed admitted that they had observed someone else's PIN, although not always with malicious intent. Meanwhile, the majority of victims said they were not aware they were being watched.
Your heartbeat may be your new passcode. Always forgetting your passwords? Well, scientists have come up with a great solution for that, using your heart. Say what? Researchers at the University of Buffalo have developed a new biometric tool that scans your heart to unlock your phone or log onto your computer. The system uses a low-level Doppler radar to identify the shape and size of a person's heart. The system needs 8 seconds to record the shape and person's heartbeat. It then continuously monitors the person's presence. The heart scanner continuously monitors individuals up to a distance of 98 feet. Researchers claim the system poses no health risks as the radar system uses very little power. It is a passive, non-contact device, so people don't have to spend time authenticating themselves. They just have to give their biometric heart data to the office and their phone companies. Yeah, that'll totally happen. Researchers really knocked it out of the park on this one.
Google's taking over. After tons of rumors, leaked memos, and article after article of intense speculation, the news is out. Google is buying HTC. At least part of it. The Taiwanese smartphone maker suspended trading of its shares on the Taiwan Stock Exchange Thursday, pending a major announcement. That announcement involves Google forking over $1.1 billion for part of HTC's mobile division. The deal includes a non-exclusive license for HTC IP and a chunk of the R&D team that's been working on Google's Pixel phone. About half of HTC's R&D people will soon be Googlers. The other half will stay on at HTC to work on their next flagship phone. Guess the original smartphone maker doesn't want out of the game just yet, despite plummeting from the top spot in 2010 to this year's pitiful 0.6% global market share. HTC did bounce back with the Vive, largely considered the best virtual reality headset on the market. The company was also responsible for the ravely reviewed Pixel and Pixel XL phones in 2016, as well as the Pixel 2, which will be unveiled in October. Despite its lack of home runs, HTC does have a reputation for producing excellent hardware. Google is hoping to get the hardware-software synergy that's been the iPhone's secret sauce. With the deal expected to be done by